AI is a team sport. A lot of time I find in organizations, people start putting AI and they hire a bunch of 2 data scientists, really smart people, create a budget, but they don't have the teams. You need to bring stakeholders from different teams, businesses. Otherwise, you can't solve the problem. It's a very complex problem, but the results and rewards are phenomenal, and we are going to talk about some of those technologies in a few minutes. How many of you remember carrying those paper maps? You remember those days? I'm sure most of you were carrying that book. I forgot the book when I moved to US. What was the name of that book?
Thomas Guide.
Yes, perfect. 1996, my boss gave me this problem. Sanjeev, can you solve this problem, shortest distance from A to B? And there are like 8, 9 points here. This theorem or program, you call it, was conceived in 1956. The point I'm trying to make is AI is not new. AI is around for a long, long, long time. Today, when you talk about Google Maps, they still use some variations of the same theorem. But in 1996, I had spent more than 4 days in library, going through papers and theses of the students to understand how this theorem worked and how can I write a small program. And I believe I was able to get to, in like 3 months of work I did on this, 100 points. That's it. I couldn't solve more than 100 points. So when I talk about points, means like 100 locations, all I can do 100 locations. Can we live with that today? Today, Google Map is so advanced, it not only knows how to go from point A to point B, it can even add stops in between. Not just that, it can even tell you, you are tired, go and grab a coffee, and by the way, they'll give you a 50-cent discount if you go now. And that's interesting, right? It's phenomenal what's happening in our world. We don't realize it. AI is already here. Point I'm trying to make it is AI is already here, and we are living and breathing that AI every single day. We just don't know it. A little bit about me. I did masters in applied mechanics with computer-aided design. I invested into several AI, not several, but few AI companies. I'm a student. I understand AI. What I'm really good in it, it's application in business. If you give me a problem, I'm pretty sure I can give you some ideas how to solve that problem. And that makes me interesting and exciting, and that's why a lot of people look up to me and talk to me about AI. I know a lot about different areas, how AI can apply and do different things. Another claim to fame is I designed Asia's first vehicle location system way back in 96, 97. What that means, I designed, architected Google Maps in 96 and 97, way before Google even started. But we were too early. So let's talk about how our brain functions. How many of you are familiar with the term VARK? So this is how our brain functions. Number one is visual. We look at things, we remember things. Look at people, we remember their faces, and then we correlate it with some name. And most of the time, how do we remember the name? We associate it with one of our friends, and we say, oh yeah, he's Fred because he looks like Fred. Or he's Johnny because he looks like Johnny. That's how we remember faces and people, which is fascinating. And we are born with that capability. We are enhancing it, but we are born with that capability. Auditory, what we listen. That listening makes a huge difference in our life. It's phenomenal what listening can do to us. A lot of us now listen to audiobooks. That's how we learn. Read and write. But kinesthetic is the most important and interesting. How many of you can learn swimming without jumping in the pool? Or playing golf? Or even bicycle, which is such a simple, trivial thing if you think about it. So let's extend this example for AI. What is the real problem with AI today? To me, in the simplest way I can explain you is AI is like that bicycle or AI is like that golf club. Now what you do with that is the question. The golf club is there, ball is there. What do you do with that? It's building that data set, building that muscle memory, building and adding more and more. Imagine you have some days. How many of you are golfers in this room? Quite a few. Are you a good golfer? Exactly. This is the problem with AI. You can never perfect it. It's good enough. It's maybe 90%, maybe 95%. But is it perfect? That's the whole idea about it. It's like human brain. Our brain is continuously learning. Our brain is continuously processing a lot of these tasks. But how do we take decisions? Let's talk about that. We take decisions based on the experience we have, based on things we read, based on things somebody has told us, based on things we have seen in the world. For example, Boston Robotics. If I show you now, you go out, you say, yeah, when Boston Robotics can do it, so can I, right? That's how we work. That's how humans work. So that's really the most fundamental problem when we talk about AI and deployment of AI in business world. People are trying to solve all the problems day one. And the classic example is IBM Watson. If you remember, there was a big ad almost 8 years ago. And the promise was you deploy IBM Watson and it will solve everything for you. Do you remember that time? Some of you may remember that ad. So, are we so predictable as a human? And that's fascinating. When we talk about it, we say, hey, machine cannot give me that level of accuracy. Well, when we are so predictable, machine can do better than that, I think. What do you think about that? It's a very interesting question. And a lot of people ask me this question, Sanjeev, can AI solve all the problems? I say, I don't know if AI can solve all the problems, but AI can definitely give you some possible answers. Now it's talking about the term we use called confidence score. So what is the confidence score? Let's talk about some interesting use cases of AI, which I'm going to share with you and explain. So number one is a use case of parking. All of you are from gaming industry. MGM has invested millions of dollars in telling you how many parking spots are available at that floor. And there's a little light which turns on and off for that parking lot. How if we can use just security cameras to provide that information? What value it brings to gaming or any other application? Now, the same technology can apply to several other scenarios. This is a picture, first picture is from someplace in Europe. And it's fascinating. You may be wondering, can it be done with just some kind of a counter? Yes, absolutely, because I know, but I don't know which spot. So the beauty is, can I do even more than that? So I was talking to one of the mayor of San Francisco, and I say, why the hell you need to put these meters everywhere? It's so annoying. Parking meters, I'm talking. It's a crazy experience, not a great experience. Can we use AI for that? He said, how? Well, we have cameras everywhere. If not, we can put a bunch of cameras. Cameras are cheap. We can create an app. You may be wondering, why should I create an app? But if you create an app for you to pay all the services in the city, you may use that app. Now, it can be detected. You don't need any toll booth. You don't need any other technology, just with pure computer vision, like even today. I don't know if you have parked at Excalibur. Did you park at the Excalibur? I'm assuming most of us. When you pay and when you leave, you will find interesting, if you have paid earlier, the parking gate opens itself. You know how? It's reading your license plate. It's pure computer vision. It's very simple technology, but the application is phenomenal. You save tremendous amount of time. Second application is very interesting too. Imagine you take the picture. Like for example, you take my picture right now, you upload it somewhere, and it tells you exactly everything about what I'm wearing. The watch, you tap it, it even gives you the variations. It even tells you the shoes I'm wearing. Oh, by the way, you can even buy now. How cool is that in terms of the consumer experience? Because you may say we are in the era of over-consumerization, or you can say hyper-personalization, but that's the world we are living in. Visual search is not only here, almost every single organization, whether it's Amazon and all, they are using it. It may not be available easily because there are some challenges around it. What is the challenge? The challenge is the data. When I talk about the watch, I don't know how many kinds of watches are there. There are so many design and complexities around that. But can we get almost 90-95% accuracy? Oh, most of the world will be pretty good with that. We are taking decisions of gaming or in gaming with 50% odd. What do you think about that, Richard? Or less than that? I go into a casino, I say, I feel like a winner today, and I'm going to put a few grand. The third example is one of my favorite. This is, I'm an investor in this company called Dragonfruit AI. It's a pretty interesting technology. They have developed it around video analytics. Now, let's talk about a journey of a player. You have a player, he came into your casino maybe 10 times or 100 times in the last 10 years. Do you know what are the areas he has been to, what he has done? You have some ideas about how much money he has spent, but you have no idea what he really does when it comes to your casino. Now, I'm sure nobody will be interested in watching last 10 years worth of videos. But today you have technology which can analyze and provide you this player journey on your property. You can do that today. Now, applications are phenomenal. I could think of 100 other applications, but that's what you have to think, how to apply technology for business case you are working with. Another one is spill detection. Today, using computer vision, we can detect if there is a spill. It's almost like an outlier. So you're continuously taking picture and say something interesting. Now, what is interesting about it is it can detect that this is not a normal water or normal oil. It can even detect what kind of oil it is based on the training. People are even using shells, like companies are using even in the oil exploration, these technologies. Imagine if you deploy this kind of technology in casino, how many lawsuits you can manage better or solve. That's the one problem. But the bigger problem is safety. I'm a positive guy. How about people are really slipping? How about your staff is really struggling? And the beauty is you already have security cameras everywhere. How about you run an algorithm like that on a constant basis and you can detect when the spill happens and the guy goes, so it creates a notification. It's all doable. Technology is here right now and you can do it. It's not tomorrow. The last one is one of my favorite. I don't know if you read an article, a couple of years, a doctor did a major surgery using Da Vinci robot, which is an AI-driven robot, 400 kilometers or 500 kilometers away. How cool is that? Doing remote surgery. Isn't it a game changer? I wonder, can this machine will be better trained than a doctor or not? Future will tell, but today it can only augment. Today we can create better healthcare system using these technologies. I'll give you another example. One of my friend, I possibly may invest in the company, is they are developing this technology using computer vision. You look at it with a pure camera or a webcam. Actually, HP just licensed their technology. It can tell you your heart rate. It can tell your stress level. It can tell your cortisol level. And they are looking at some other biomarkers without any sensors going to the doctors. So think of it as your doctor received the call or you receive a call from the doctor. Slow down. You're drinking too much coffee. I'm going to give you an interesting and spooky example. A few years ago, I flew to Dallas. I got out of the plane and I saw an old friend of mine, Zane. And he's a pretty sassy guy. I didn't put his picture because he will look better than me. So Zane is a very old friend of mine. We're friends for almost 15, 16 years. I looked at him and said, Zane, what are you doing here? He said, I was in the same plane. See, I didn't saw you. Anyway, we got excited. We met, I think, after a couple of years. In spite of living in Silicon Valley, that's where I used to live before I moved here. And Zane and me said, what we do when we meet somebody, oh, let's take a selfie. So we took a selfie. And they say, okay, let's go and grab some coffee, have breakfast, and then we'll go wherever we are going. So we took a selfie. I put my phone on the table. He put his phone on the table. Guess what? He receives a notification of airdrop notification to drop the same picture. I'm sure half of you or most of you know how to do airdrop. It worked magically. Oh, was it spooky? Yeah, I was a little concerned as to what's going on. But think about it with that kind of correlation. And I can explain to you how it happened. It was not spooky, it was pretty straightforward. But that correlation can create some amazing value for all the work you guys do. Doesn't matter what industry you are in. Another example I can give you is some interesting application or simple application. I'm sure all of you are familiar that AI is being used in these kind of applications. Am I right? Most of you. So let's talk a little bit about fraud detection because most of you are in that industry. So how does the fraud detection really work? You are all expert. You know that business better than me. But can we map 10% of your brain and combine that brain and create a master brain? That's what AI is about. Learning from each one of you, applying it, and giving you that data back, which may be 90% accurate. We are not saying that AI can be 100% accurate. Even in computer time, if you talk about even data servers, no, they talk about 99.99999% accuracy or uptime. Nobody gives you 100%. Why? Because machine can be wrong, just like humans. Another example of fraud I can talk about it is, one of my dear friends is here from Walker Digital. They have developed this phenomenal technology around chips and using AI, and it can do plethora of, solve a lot of problems in your industry. You may like to talk to them after that. Staff assignment and scheduling. I bet each one of you employ anywhere between 500 to 5,000 employees at a time. How do you assign the right person to the right job? How do you even replace a person? And how do you even rate a person? Do you rate based on the revenues he brings? Do you rate on the basis of how many cards he's playing? What are the bases? If you look at it today, especially in the HR areas, there are so many improvements you can make is amazing. Plethora of opportunities leveraging AI. Because it can learn from you. You have systems you may have data which may be 40, 50 years or longer. That data can train. You can train employees in the right skills. So for example, if there is a server, what kind of server is he? What kind of restaurant you should put him in? Because somebody who is very quick may not be good for a fine dining because you want customer to sit there for longer. So customer training itself is a huge opportunity, which I believe is an untapped opportunity for all of you. Player engagement, I'm sure you must have heard about player engagement. Some of you may be even using player engagement, but imagine a day, and I'll give you a scenario. I picked up the phone and I call MGM, and I'm asking him I just want to get some show tickets. The guy looked at me, and the AI is working in the background. He says, oh, Mr. Goyal, when you are coming to Vegas, would you like to take some golf lessons? How the hell they know I'm a beginner golfer? But technology can do that today. It's phenomenal what simple AI application can do today. Possibilities are endless. Absolutely phenomenal opportunities. Customer service. How many of you Remember the time when you were on the hold for 3 hours? I guess all of us, pretty much. Do you want to talk? Earlier it used to be, get the guy, get the guy. Now I don't want to talk to anybody. Can I do it with a chatbot? Can I do it through online? How many of you make your own travel reservations today? Almost everyone, right? It's interesting. Earlier it used to be 1 hour call or half an hour call by your assistant or you to make a reservation. And changing a reservation, forget it. You can do that. AI is being applied everywhere. But how do we use it in the gaming? We can talk about that later. Reservations, you guys have perfected that industry. Gaming, I believe, or Las Vegas casinos know exactly what to offer to what customer. But can we map that knowledge of those people, those smartest people who are creating these packages, and let technology create these packages for our players or patrons and provide a better experience? So for example, if I'm not in golfing, why are you offering me golfing? Why are you sending me those paper mailers which I don't even read and you spend millions of dollars? Learning from the data and applying that learning to create better player experience is everything. Safety and security, I talked about the use case a few minutes ago around a spill. There are several other use cases. For example, a pallet sitting somewhere on the floor. I'm sure you must have witnessed that. A pallet is sitting, nobody has removed it. Machine is moved, but there is a simple pallet sitting, wooden pallet. Somebody's going to trip. How do you solve that problem? Yeah, you need attentive people, very, very smart people. But how do we take these mundane tasks? These are mundane tasks, in my opinion, from people. How do we solve that? Today, technology is here. It's not in future. It's right now, right here. Layout. I'm sure you are using phenomenal products around a heat map or really understanding which machine is producing, which is not producing, where to put that machine, where to put that machine. But can you bring that knowledge from multiple properties at one place? Can you create a better customer experience? Can you put different games? I know ADI, Scientific Gaming, and IGT, they are figuring it out a way. What game you like before you sit on the machine and play that game. There are a lot of innovation happening even in the gaming technology. How do you use it? That is the question. You have to find a problem. So I'm not going to confuse you with this slide. The reason I brought this slide is, disclaimer, I'm one of the investors in this company. This company is into EV space. Everybody is making car. We think leasing will be a better idea. So we want to be the global leading brand when you talk about leasing EV. 4 years ago, I moved to Las Vegas. And I didn't have many friends. I knew a couple of people. And I saw everybody's doing hiking. And I got curious, what is this hiking? Because I used to watch on TV, somebody's hiking this, somebody's hiking this, doing 3 mile, 5 mile. And I grew up in India. For me, it's kilometers, not miles. So I multiply everything by 1.6. So that's too far. So first hike, I did a couple of miles here and there. Then I did, everybody told me in the group, hey, let's go to Mount Charleston. We are going to hike and we get to Griffith Peak. And so what is that? That's for Ironman. That's not for a common person like me. 2 weeks ago, I did Grand Canyon rim to rim hike, 28 miles in a day. We started from Las Vegas at 12 in the night, got there at 5:30, started hiking, finished around 7:30, and there were some brave hikers with me. My friend Phil is here, he's in one of those. And we drove back. Actually, not we, they drove back. So in 24 hours, we left Las Vegas, we finished the hike and came back. I couldn't do even 2 miles hike, 2 miles hike 4 years ago. Why am I telling you this story? I never thought in my mind even, or conceived that I can hike that far. AI is no different. I know most of you are sitting on the fence. What to do with AI? Where do we start? Start somewhere. Pick the smallest problem. Start deploying the AI. And I can guarantee it will change everything what you do. Let me just explain this slide for you a little bit. So on the left, you see AI and ML services. There are 9 services we have to bring together to give this global experience we want to provide to everybody in the world. Of course, we want to target 6 billion plus people, possibly 9 or 10, who knows, in 20, 30 years. Let this be the problem of few smart data scientists. That problem is solved. We will figure it out how to solve it. The biggest problem I see it is getting on that journey, starting that journey, and taking you to that place. So you can hike Grand Canyon. You can do rim to rim in a day. Google, Microsoft has done phenomenal work. When you talk about technology, some of you may not know, the baseline technology is done. Algorithms are all there. It was developed 50, 60 years ago, actually. I just showed you one of those examples. Algorithms are all there. Problem is only the data. It's no different than golfing. When you golf, you need more data. You need more practice. The same way, you need more data. You want to apply it for your employees' training, you need more data. What he likes, what he dislikes, what kind of content working, what is not working. The technology Google is using on us, let's reverse it and use it for ourselves. I used to say AI will impact every single dollar you make. It's not true anymore. I'm baffled. Especially COVID has accelerated our world. COVID has completely changed the way we live. Imagine COVID-like situation happening 30 years ago. What would have happened? We may be killing each other. We may be buying the guns. We all know there was a huge shortage of bullets. Can you believe that in a country like America, we need to defend ourselves? I believe it's one of the safest places. I've traveled 40 plus countries. I think America is the safest country in the world, even today. I feel safe anytime, even going to downtown or anywhere. Nowhere else. But here, we were buying guns, we were buying bullets. But if you think about it, because of the technology, financial system worked. Actually, the stock market went up. Doesn't make sense, right? People are not earning, sitting at home, the stock market is going up. I'm surprised, but the beauty is electricity. The whole infrastructure worked. AI and technology is making it possible for us to have a better life. What I want to say is, AI is not our enemy. AI is our friend. We have to work, we have to jump on that journey and create better value for our patrons and our employees. And we owe it to them. Thank you very much.